Good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a productive Tuesday and are continuing to enjoy the festive season. Now here's a sneak peek of our edition. Analysts of national planning and population growth in Rwanda believe that the government should focus more on increasing development projects that create many jobs in rural areas in order to reduce the sporadic migration of people, mostly youth, who move to Kigali seeking better livelihoods. Young people engaged in handicraft activities and innovation through their knowledge show that the Made in Rwanda program gives them many opportunities for self-development, and they also encourage their peers to use properly their opportunities. We're glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali, and I bring you tonight's bulletin is Martina Abera. Now, the President of the Parliament of the Republic of Mozambique, Her Excellency Margarida Adamunji Talapa, today visited the Rwandan security forces deployed in Mosimboa da Praia, Cabo Delgado province. She was accompanied by a high-level delegation that included the governor of Cabo Delgado province, Valij Taubo, and the commander of the Mozambican Armed Forces, Major General Andre Rafael. The delegation was welcomed by the RSF Joint Task Force Commander, Major General Vincent Gatama, who briefed them on the current security situation in the RSF's area of responsibility. In her address, President Talapa commended the efforts of both the Rwandan and Mozambican security forces in the fight against terrorism. She stressed that peace and security are essential foundations for sustainable development in Mozambique and encouraged the RSF to remain steadfast in their mission. She also appreciated the strong cooperation between Rwandan and Mozambican institutions. The partnership reflects a shared commitment to restoring peace in Cabo Delgado and enhancing collaboration between the two countries. She emphasized that such unity reinforces the solidarity between Mozambique and Rwanda. Moving ahead, analysts of national planning and population growth in Rwanda believe that the government should focus more on increasing development projects that create many jobs in rural areas in order to reduce the sporadic migration of people, mostly youth, who move to Kigali seeking better livelihoods. Throughout the day, many travelers in Kigali wait for vehicles heading to the provinces to celebrate end-of-year festivities. Such patterns repeat every year and indicate that Kigali's activity is largely driven by people coming from rural areas. The 5th National Population and Housing Census showed that Kigali City leads other provinces and districts in migration rates with a rate of 48.8%. It is followed by the Eastern Province with a 29.3% migration rate, where over 400,000 people have moved. Dr. Ignace Kabano, a university lecturer and expert in population planning at the University of Rwanda, suggests that the government should put more effort into creating large-scale employment-generating activities for citizens, especially the youth, because they represent the majority of migrants coming from provinces to Kigali. Under the government's second national strategy for transformation, the plan is to prioritize the development of Kigali and its satellite cities, as emphasized by Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva. Currently, Kigali is home to over 1.7 million people, with more than 500,000 having migrated there from other parts of the country, according to the 5th Population and Housing Census. With 10 years remaining before the deadline Rwanda set for itself to achieve a balanced and sustainable economy, economists and professionals working in the financial services and technology sectors are confident that this goal will be achieved based on the country's current economic growth rate of 11.8%. For the first time, the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda has reported that the national economy recorded a high growth rate of 11.8% in the third quarter of 2025 compared to the same period of July, August, and September in 2024. Financial sector expert Alphonse Ngaboziza notes that Rwanda needs to reach a savings rate equivalent to 30% of its gross domestic product by 2035, so that interest costs on loans can at least be reduced, considering that the current savings rate stands at 12.4% of GDP. As a country aiming to build a knowledge-based economy, output from the information and communication technology services sector increased by 17% during July, August, and September this year, compared to the same period in 2024. The Chief Executive Officer of IT Consortium and Zora Robotics, Benjamin Karenzi, says the government has invested sufficiently in digital infrastructure and that the remaining priority is to improve digital skills among the population.
We are so lucky in Rwanda that we already have the infrastructure. The government has set up a real world-class infrastructure in terms of the broadband and internet, in terms of the phone accessibility and the network, and it's all across the country. And the other thing is also the price. When you look at internet price in Rwanda, is actually the lowest compared to most of the countries in the neighboring countries and even far away. So my appeal is for us as citizens to be able to accept and to adapt and start learning. I focus on learning because what I see, especially with AI and digital skills, irrespective of your profession, whether you're a lawyer or you're a marketing or you're an economist or you're an engineer, you need to have some level of digital skills. And this is going to be like a mandatory skill to have if you are to be competitive as an individual in this upcoming economy. And the other thing is that is for people who are already in different professions. But for those who are in school, it's good for them to learn these skills so that it's part of their education journey. The ICT sector still has room for more investors to come and for more innovations to come, because in the national strategic plan, the ICT sector is like I said, is going to be part and parcel for almost every sector. Let it be agriculture or manufacturing or banking, there has to be a component of technology. And these technologies, like for example, if you want to introduce technology in mining, you need to have engineers who have skills in technology. So it's very important, and there will be more investments to come. In education I think is fundamental, but also for upskilling is very essential, so that those who are already driving the economy, they also drive it into this transition of fully going digital.
The World Bank country manager of Rwanda, Dr. Sark Punde, says that for Rwanda to achieve its vision, it needs to build an economy driven by the private sector.
Maintaining Rwanda's development trajectory and achieving the targets set in Vision 2050 will require intensified efforts to shift the drivers of economic growth towards a private sector-led knowledge-based economy. Despite considerable progress, Rwanda's skills level remain insufficient to meet its development ambitions. In fact, the proportion of the workforce with only a basic education or less is one of the highest in the region. Particularly, workers in agriculture and industry have low levels educational attainment, with all about 98% of agricultural workers having completed only basic education or less. This edition of the Rwanda Economic Update provides a comprehensive list of recommendations on how to close the skills gap and reform the skills system as Rwanda transitions to a knowledge-based economy.
In 2027, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda are the 3 countries scheduled to be assessed by the United Nations Economic Committee to determine whether they meet the criteria to be upgraded to the category of higher income or upper middle income economies by 2030. Economist Strato Habyarimana believes that if Rwanda is upgraded to that category, it will be a source of pride for the country. Since 1991, when this system of upgrading countries from lower income to higher income status was introduced, only 8 countries have successfully made the transition. People seeking housing in Kigali want the increase in available homes to be accompanied by more affordable options for low-income earners. This demand comes alongside research published by Jeune Afrique, which ranks Kigali among the top 5 cities in Africa where finding housing is easiest. The Jeune Afrique study lists numerous cities with easy access to housing, placing Kigali first, followed by Pretoria and Johannesburg in South Africa. Cities like Mombasa and Nairobi in Kenya rank 3rd. Residents of Kigali confirmed that those looking for accommodation in the city generally manage to find it. However, despite the availability of housing, many residents say that affordability remains a significant challenge for those with limited financial means. Urban development expert engineer Idishaka Darius emphasizes that to make renting housing easier in Kigali, responsible authorities must build affordable housing units specifically designed for low-income residents. A report from the Club du Sahel et de l'Afrique in partnership with the African Development Bank, Cities Alliance, and UCLG Africa highlights that in sub-Saharan Africa, housing costs exceed 55% of income, on average a much higher rate than in other developing regions, and this has led city leaders to be urged to rethink housing policies, ensuring that citizens can access quality housing at prices they can afford. Foreigners living in Rwanda, especially those from the African continent and particularly those working in the education sector, commend the country's culture of hospitality and unity among Africans. Many say Rwanda's warm reception has made them feel at home. We have more.
In 2023, Rwanda opened its borders to citizens of all African Union member states, allowing them to enter the country without a visa. This policy has attracted many foreigners who have come to live, work, and invest in the country. While many arrived for business opportunities, Sudanese nationals affected by the prolonged conflict in their home country represent a unique case. Fleeing the war, they relocated a university specializing in medicine and technology to Rwanda. Since then, the institution has attracted students from both Rwanda and other countries and now enrolls learners from 12 different nations. Students at the university say Rwanda has become their second home. They describe living freely and peacefully, noting that Rwandans treat them like family. Many say they have begun sharing cultures and building strong bonds with the local community.
It's our country now. We live here. And now we want to share our culture with our brothers so they know how our Sudan was. We're here to remember who we are, to remember the responsibility we have, also to share our culture with our Rwandese brothers.
It's very important because from Congo, it's also a message for other Congolese who are not in the uni, because we are actually currently just 2 students. They can see the message, they can understand how it's good to study in Rwanda, and especially in the University of Medical Science and Technology, so they can just come and join us because we are also proud of our nationality and our culture.
The students explain that the university provides an opportunity to share cultures from their respective countries. Rwandan students, in turn, say it is a valuable space to teach their peers about Rwanda's culture and history while also learning from others. The Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the university, Professor Shaheen Samir, commends Rwanda for welcoming them and for prioritizing education for African youth.
I hereby extend to this opportunity to thank the government of Rwanda to have hosted us, to have made Rwanda a second home for us, to have included us in the Rwandan community. And this actually makes this university. Now we have Sudanese students, Rwandan students, students from Congo, students from neighboring other countries, and today we have seen those students representing the multicultural celebration.
Usama A. Rahman, Councillor and Deputy Head of Mission at the Embassy of Sudan in Kigali, also commends Rwanda's open door policy toward Africans. He says it is a strong example of regional cooperation that other countries should emulate.
Education, investment sector, I will thank a lot also Rwandan people for hosting Sudan, and thank you for everything. We are sisters and brothers and Sudanese. We will pay back to Rwandan government and Rwandan people. And we appreciate the modeling and very good model that Rwanda showed, and it is very bright model of peace, reconciliation that happened in Rwanda. Our message to all African countries to adopt this very good model, and really Rwanda is model of Africa.
The Medical and Technology University currently has more than 700 students from 12 countries. Rwanda is represented by 21 students. Since Rwanda opened its doors to foreigners, many have chosen to settle and work in the country. The Sudanese experience remains unique, as the relocation of the university to Kigali was later followed by two Sudanese football clubs, Al Hilal and Al Merrikh, which now compete in Rwanda's National League.
Young people engaged in handicraft activities and innovation through their knowledge show that Made in Rwanda program gives them many opportunities for self-development, and they also encourage their peers to use their opportunities properly. Enora Gladys has the details.
One of the young entrepreneurs who started a business through Made in Rwanda program, Crepin Kayiside, has helped up to 8,000 entrepreneurs in Rwanda and abroad manage the resources of their products through a software he launched. He affirms that the Made in Rwanda program is an opportunity that young people should not waste.
In Rwanda, as a government initiative, is a very, very important, I'll say, milestone, not just for the government, but also for us in the private sector. We realize that there are so many problems that we don't need external help on, problems that we, with our education and ability and capacity, we can actually build and address, and we have the market in Rwanda to start with. It's a great initiative that not only gives us the foresight and the opportunity to see how we can service our market, but it also attracts foreign direct investments to companies like ours. We've been able to raise capital because of this initiative. We've been able to attract talent, build this as a unique and context-appropriate solution that helps these businesses to manage their books, be more tax compliant, and ultimately access finance. So far, we've onboarded more than 8,500 businesses that use Keiko using our app that is available on Play Store and App Store. And we have seen great change because these businesses were informal and they're able to now use these tools to formalize and get more opportunities to access capital.
The opportunities available in the Made in Rwanda program for young people are highlighted by many, including those involved in clothing that showcases Rwandan culture. Emmanuel Nyonsenga is one of them.
A lot of opportunity. First of all, it's helped me to get it helped me to get the living cost, to get the money, to support my family, to support myself, and even to support the government through tax. And it's also create jobs, opportunities, and it's also help us to use our talent, and also to sharing the culture of our country with the world, because most of the people who visited Rwanda, they are most of them curious of seeing the craftsmanship of Rwandan, and they're seeing what's going on the Made in Rwanda clothes. So, and they loved it, and the most thing is not to take the clothes, it's about the story behind our creations. So,
statistics from the Ministry of Public Service and Labour show that 31% of Rwandan youth lack sufficient knowledge because they only completed primary school, which is one of the obstacles they face in the labour market. The Minister of Public Service and Labour, Ambassador Christine Hurichinga, urges young people to be determined to improve their knowledge and to make good use of the opportunities provided by the country.
Open, to really be open to opportunities, open to learning, de-learn, de-skill, upskill, and most importantly, to use the available tools wisely. For example, when it comes to use of internet, to use internet to develop skills, to look for opportunities, to look for new ideas, to look for, entrepreneurship ideas. And be bold, be bold. Don't limit yourself, don't be limited from where you are or who you are. Just be bold, dream big, and go for it. And the internet, and there is also a range of structure and programs that we are developing and providing as a government. One of the place or platform where young people can go to find information is Ingazi. So the Ingazi platform, I really urge them to go there and look and give us feedback on how we can improve it so that we meet really their needs and their expectations.
Research conducted by the Ministry of Public Service and Labour in 2025 on the labour market shows that in the third quarter of 2025, youth unemployment was at 15.5% compared to 11.7% among adults. The proportion of young people who are neither in school nor in work or vocational training was 25.6%, with the majority being girls.
Moving ahead, farmers and exporters have praised the efforts made by the government to strengthen export-oriented agriculture. This comes as a report by the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda shows that in the third quarter of 2025, Rwanda's gross domestic product grew by 11.8%, with agricultural exports accounting for 35% of total exports. Anastase Mulinda is an avocado farmer in Rwanda district, Eastern Province, where he has planted over 400 avocado seedlings on 2 hectares of land. He commends the support he received from the National Agricultural Export Development Board. On the other hand, Damien Hambara, a coffee farmer in Huye district in the Southern Province, says he has improved his living standards thanks to proper coffee farming practices supported by NAEB. Rafael Karasi, a coffee farmer from Gicumbi district whose coffee ranked best in 2024, and Inyas Ndayahunga, an employee at K Organics Company whose coffee ranked first in 2025, say that the annual coffee quality competitions organized by NAEB have helped them develop and improve their farming activities. Agricultural exporters who highly appreciate the infrastructure put in place by the government through NAEB aimed at processing and testing the quality of coffee, tea, vegetables and fruits at NAEB facilities in order to comply with international quality standards. According to NAEB statistics, foreign exchange earnings from agricultural and livestock exports increased from $515.8 million in 2017 to $839.8 million in 2024. Rwanda has set a target to earn $1.054 billion from agricultural and livestock exports by 2029. Development projects benefiting communities living near national parks are now receiving more focus, whereas previously the emphasis was mainly on infrastructure projects. Data from the Rwanda Development Board shows that 76% of funded projects are infrastructure related, while only 24% support the development of communities near parks. The government's revenue sharing program, which distributes tourism revenue to park adjacent communities, has increased from 5% in 2005 to 10% today. Among the beneficiaries of this program near Nyungwe National Park are 74 households in the Rusizi and Nyamasheke districts who have been provided with new housing. These families attest that this support has significantly improved their living conditions. One of the projects funded in the 2025-2026 fiscal year near Nyungwe includes the expansion of a primary healthcare childcare center currently under construction in Rasano village, Bwenyeye sector, Rusizi district. Since the launch of the revenue sharing program, support projects near national parks, communities around Nyungwe have received over 4.5 billion Rwandan francs in funding, and in the 2025-2026 fiscal year, 5 districts surrounding the park will share approximately 1.28 billion Rwandan francs in support. Rusizi, Nyamagabe, and Nyaruguru districts will each receive over 268 million Rwandan francs. Nyamasheke will get more than 375 million, and Karunji will receive about 107 million Rwandan francs. A 2022 assessment by RDB confirmed that 76% of funded projects focus on infrastructure, while 24% benefit communities living near the parks. Since 2005, a total of 1,190 projects have received funding through RDB's revenue sharing program, with a cumulative investment exceeding 18 billion Rwandan francs. This year, an additional 5.15 billion Rwandan francs will be allocated to support communities near all the country's national parks. And that Al Jazeera story marks the end of our bulletin tonight. And on behalf of the news production team as well as the technical team, thank you very much for sticking with us here on RTV News. My name is Martina, and until next time, stay safe and have a good night.